In the early 1900s, Russia was ruled by a powerful emperor called the Tsar. His name was Tsar Nicholas II, and he lived in a grand palace in St. Petersburg, while most people in Russia were struggling with poverty, hard work, and very little food. The Tsar had a small group of rich nobles who helped him rule, but many people felt left out, hungry, and unheard. Many Russians were unhappy with how the country was being run. People were working long hours in factories, and farmers were struggling to grow enough food. They were tired, hungry, and wanted change. By 1917, Russia was also fighting in World War I, which made life even harder. Soldiers were sent to fight in terrible conditions, and many didn't have proper clothing or weapons. Back at home, people were starving. Protests began to spread. In February 1917, a huge protest in the capital, St. Petersburg, became the spark that started the Russian Revolution. Thousands of people flooded the streets demanding bread and an end to the war. The soldiers were supposed to stop the protesters, but many of them joined the crowd instead. Soon, Tsar Nicholas II realized he had lost control, and in a historic moment, he decided to step down from power. This event became known as the February Revolution. After Tsar Nicholas stepped down, a temporary government called the Provisional Government took control. They promised to help the people and keep Russia going until a proper election could be held. But the Provisional Government made a big mistake. They decided to keep fighting in World War I, even though the people were desperate for peace. The war effort would eventually fall apart, with many soldiers refusing to fight. While the Provisional Government was struggling, a new group of revolutionaries, led by a man named Vladimir Lenin, started gaining power. Lenin and his followers, called the Bolsheviks, promised peace, land, and bread. They wanted to give land to the peasants, stop the war, and make sure everyone had enough food. Many people liked their ideas. By October 1917, the Bolsheviks were ready to take control. They planned a second revolution, this time against the Provisional Government. On October the 25th, they stormed the Winter Palace, where the government leaders were staying, and took power in what is now called the October Revolution. It was quick and mostly peaceful, but it changed Russia forever. After the Bolsheviks took power, not everyone was happy. A bloody civil war broke out between the Reds, the Bolsheviks, and the Whites, those who supported the Tsar or didn't like the new government. The war lasted for several years and caused a lot of suffering, but in the end, the Reds won, and Lenin became the leader of the new Soviet Union. By 1922, the Bolsheviks had won, and Lenin led the creation of the Soviet Union. It was a new kind of government, where the workers were supposed to share power equally. However, life remained tough for many Russians. The revolution brought big changes, but also many challenges. The Russian Revolution was a very important event in history. It ended centuries of rule by the Tsars and led to the rise of the Soviet Union. Though it promised a better life for the people, the years that followed were still difficult, and the revolution's impact would be felt around the world for many years to come. And so, the Russian Revolution changed the world in ways that no one could have imagined. From the fall of the Tsar to the rise of the Soviet Union, it's a story of people fighting for change, sometimes successfully, but often with great cost. Thanks for watching, and remember, history helps us understand the world we live in today.
If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it and subscribe to the channel to help us create more content for you.